start recording. So again, when you come to campus, you're going to make sure you know where you're going if you're doing that, okay? Expectations, stay on task. You're going to be working on a fun gizmo today, and hopefully you enjoy it, and then working together as a group, okay? So we're not going to have a lot of participation opportunities, but your participation today is completing that synchronous classwork. So make sure you take advantage of that. Okay. All right, let's start with the warm up. So you need to open up the formative. I've already posted it on Google Classroom. You need to probably refresh your screen. Let's see. Well, good job, Zoom. Actually, this is Google Slides that are doing the captioning. All right, so the formative is called Peppered Moth Activity. Yep. So open that up and explain what it means to be fit in biological terms.
What's it called again?
Peppered Moth Activity. I'll put that in the chat. All right, so let's go ahead and open this up. Okay, let me peep on you. I don't like the closed captioning though, because then I'm watching it as I talk. It's kind of weird. Anyhow, let me refresh. All right, Angelica, if you could open that up. Drew, Izzy, Rihan. All right, good. Izzy, you can go ahead and you can click on the refresh updated stream and then open up the Peppered Moth activity. All right, volunteers. What does it mean to be quote unquote fit in biological terms? Let's start with Bella.
Okay, in biological terms, fit means the ability to pass genetic material to an offspring.
Thank you. What do you think, Garika?
Well, I think it means to have the traits necessary for survival and to be able to produce offspring.
Armand?
In biological terms, being fit means to have a high rate of survival and reproduction in an environment.
Okay. Samuel?
I think fit means how well an organism can adapt to a certain environment.
Okay. Sahil?
I think fit means that you have traits that allow you to spread your genes better or with more ease.
Okay. Anybody else? Oh, okay. Different way of spelling genes, right? Okay. Closed captioning is distracting, isn't it? Anyhow, good. So when you are fit in biological terms, and go ahead and open this up. There we go. I'm looking at a couple more of you. There we go, Izzy. Right? It doesn't matter how strong you are or what kind of diet you have, or if you work out 5 times a week, right? That's not what fit means in biological terms. Biologically, we want to think about fit as being able to adapt to your environment long enough to reproduce. So I'm glad a lot of you were saying you have to be able to produce offspring or pass your genetic information on. That's what it means to be fit. So it's not necessarily the strongest one, but it's the organism who can pass their genetic information on to the next generation. So A, you have to survive your environment. And then B, you have to survive long enough to reproduce or create babies. Questions on this? So I thought the Tide Pod meme was kind of funny. It's just meant to be a joke. I have no idea why your generation would think this is a good idea. Well, I have a good idea because you don't understand acid and base chemistry, and you can do some massive damage to your internal organs by swallowing a strong detergent that way. So that is definitely survival of the fittest, eliminating some of our population. Oh, it's not your generation. Oh, my bad. Is it? It was a couple years ago, so it doesn't apply to you guys anymore. Oh, got it. So anyhow, your older brothers or sisters or cousins, their generation, thought that was a good idea. So definitely not. This is one way for us to weed out specific traits that will not help you survive nor reproduce. Oh, Gen Alpha. Okay. They do look kind of pretty. I don't know why they did that. Poor design. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is just review everything we've learned so far. Nothing new. All the vocabulary I'm about to go over, we've already went over last week. And what you're going to end up doing is you practice using or seeing this in our peppered moth activity today. Okay. So again, we're in natural selection, and we know that natural selection is where individuals who are better adapted to their environment are more likely to survive and pass on their genetic code to their offspring because they're more fit, right? They're more fit for their environment. Now, this is nature's way of going through evolution. So it's not human deciding what's going to survive and what's not. It's the environment. So if your traits are favorable, you're going to survive long enough to create offspring and pass that genetic code on to the next generation. If it's not a favorable trait, then it's not going to work out for your offspring as well. Okay. Now we looked at adaptations. Adaptation is when you have a trait that's going to improve your chances of survival and reproduction. So kind of like these little worms here. Now, in today's activity, instead of worms, they're going to be moths. And you're going to be the bird. You're going to be the one eating the moss off of the tree today. And you're going to see that some adaptations are going to help the moth survive, and others are going to make them stick out, like this guy here. Poor guy. He's easy to find, therefore easy to eat with the predators. Okay. You can unsubmit your notebook, but again, nothing new today. We're just kind of reviewing what we already went over. Okay. We've also gone over variation and competition. Okay. Variation is when we have a variety in those traits. So it could be color, it could be shape, it could be size. But we now have a variety in our offspring, which is important because if the environment were to change in any way, it's more likely that a few of our next generation will actually survive. But then there's also competition. So even without predators, a population is going to self-regulate itself because we're now going to be fighting for shelter, food, water, and mates. So even without any predators, there is still going to be a limit to how large that population can actually grow due to that competition. All right, that's everything. Questions for me? All right. So we have this gizmo, and I just want to kind of show it to you, and then we're going to take our break. This gizmo is, I think it's a lot of fun. I like to play games, and I kind of want you to, in your groups today, to make this into a competition. You guys are all representing birds. And what the birds are going to end up eating are these moths. So let me show you, okay? Some moths you can see, and some moths are hidden. Ooh. I've done this a lot, so I can sort of see the hidden ones. What, Ms. King? But then I go to the next tree. Ooh, look at that. Easy peasy, right? So some moths are easier to see than others. Now they have this going over 5 years. So make sure you read the directions because you're going to need to go through a certain amount of years eating your moths. Now, an easier way to go from tree to tree is to hit the space bar. So when you get in your groups, I want you to kind of compete with each other. See who can get the most moths overall. So like I don't see anything there. I would just like keep going until I actually see and go as quickly as possible, right? You want to sort of get the easy ones. Oh, and then you can compete to see, oh, well, I got so many dark ones that time, or I got so many light ones. And you can see who the better bird is in your group. So I think this is fun. This is the light tree section. Then we go to the dark tree section, and you're going to do the same thing. Try to see how many moths you can eat year after year. Okay. So I think it's a fun one. I think you guys will enjoy this a lot. Okay. So before we do this though, I do want us to go ahead and take our break. So get up, stretch. We have 3 minutes and let's go.